Hello, class. Welcome to Cruiseland Geography, and now we will be talking about the different objective for today's agenda. And the first one is to define geography. So, at the end of this module, we will be going to define what's the meaning of geography and what is the relevance of geography in today's cruising. The next is to acquire an understanding of relationship between geography and cruising. So, as a future seafarer, it is important class to understand the relationship between geography and how geography impacts cruising. And the third is to identify the continents, oceans, and seas of the world in relation to cruising. So class, it is important to achieve all of this objective for us to understand the great role of geography in cruising. Come on, let's explore cruising with
Good morning, everyone. We know that geography plays an essential role, especially in cruising in many ways. Geography is relevant not only to passenger, but of course to the entire cruise as well. So the ship staff must have an intimate knowledge of the ports they visit, and also the travel agency needs to be fully familiar with geography. And you, as a student, it's very important for you to know the different ports knowledge, establish the credibility and professionalism. It is important that in this field of expertise, we must establish loyalty and trust and probability of the client satisfaction. So let's explore the geography of cruising. Let's define what is geography. Geography class is the study of places and the relationship between the people and their environments. It actually seeks to understand where things are and why they are there and how they develop and change in an over time. So class, it's very important that we know are these people behind of this study, and those are what they call geographers. They are the one who explore both physical and properties of the earth's surface and the human society that is spread across it. They also examine how the human culture interacts with the natural environment and the way that location and places can have an impact on people. Let's define what is geography. Geography comes from the ancient Greeks who needed a word to describe the writings and the map that will helping them to make sense of the world in which they live. In Greek, geo means earth and graphy means to write. So using the geography, Greeks developed an understanding of where their homeland was located, and especially in relation to the other places. So, what uh, are the places were like, and how many peoples and environment were disturbed? So, this concern have been central, especially in geography. So, ever since it is all considered as a mapping that is probably came even before in writing in many places. So, it was then the ancient Greek geographers were particularly very influential people that really imparted in the development of with regards of the map in different areas, especially around Greece, and which also includes some parts of Europe, Africa, and Asia. It is very important that they also raise some questions about how and why the different human and natural pattern came into the being of the Earth's surface, and why variation existed from place to place. So it is also during the Middle Ages when geography ceased to be the major economic or academic also in pursuit in Europe. So the advances in geography were chiefly made by the scientists of the Muslim. So it was then around the base of Arabian Peninsula and of course Africa. So it was in the golden age where it was created the world's first rectangular map based on the grid. So it is the first map system that is, in today's, it's very familiar with you. And because of this advancement, it really contributed to the immensely to geography until, of course, it was then the Chinese were do an advanced scientific study, especially in the field of astronomy. So they were the first who used the compass for navigational purposes. Now let's talk about the seven continents of the world. The widely recognized all the seven continents are listed based on its size and how it's big as to small. So Asia includes 50 countries and it is the most populated continent, about 60%, imagine the total population that is live here. So while Africa comprises of 54 countries, it is considered as the hottest continent and the home of the world's largest desert, and that is what we call Sahara. It occupies actually 25% of the total area of Africa. And then we have also North America, which includes 23 countries, led of course by the USA, because USA is the largest economy in the world. We have also South America, which comprise about 12 countries. Um, Here is located the largest forest, and it's called the Amazon rainforest. It covers 30% of the South America total area. Another is Antarctica. It is actually the coldest continent in the world. It is completely covered with ice. Um, well, because of that, there's no permanent inhabitants on it except for those scientists who's maintaining the research around Antarctica. We have another one, which is Europe, that comprised of 51 countries. It is the most developed economically continent, with the European Union, of course, as the biggest economic and political union in the world. We have also Australia. Australia includes 14 countries. It is the least populated continent. So we can migrate to Australia because in Australia, there's a lot of land rather than the population because there still there's a lot of land to be filled in. So another is Antarctica. It is the only 0.2% of the total earth population because of the fact that Antarctica is very cold. That's why there are few inhabitants on this. Now, class, let's talk about the different ocean. One of those is Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean is the largest body of water on Earth. It is actually located between the Southern Ocean, Asia, and Australia. Um, Also, the Pacific Ocean contains almost twice as much of the water as the world's second largest. And what is the second largest? That is the Atlantic Ocean. So between these oceans, you really feel the very rough sea because it's an open area, open sea. So besides being the biggest water body, the Pacific is also the oldest of the existing ocean. So now let's proceed to the second largest, that's Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean is the world's second largest and it covers about 21% of the Earth's surface. It's actually separating the North and the South of America, in between the Europe and Africa. So the Atlantic Ocean is also the youngest of the world's present days ocean. It is located in the northern area of the Atlantic Ocean. And Atlantic Ocean is the what we call touching the 3 points of Bermuda Triangle upon Miami, Bermuda, and also Puerto Rico. And this Bermuda Triangle is also known as the Devil's Triangle. And we have also what we call another ocean, which is called the Indian Ocean. It is located in between Africa, West, and Asia on the north side. So Australia in the east and Antarctica on the south side. So the Indian Ocean is considered as the warmest, ang pinakamainit na ocean in the world. The Indian Ocean's large body of salt water is also considered with a large body of salt water. It contains small islands and with the reams, and which includes the Madagascar. The Madagascar is the world's fourth largest island. So the Indian Ocean is very calm. It's calm in its surface. It allows its trade routes. So As you can see, that part is really good for trading. Okay, we have also the Southern Ocean, and this is also known as Antarctic Ocean. Okay, the southern part ocean is completely encircled the Antarctic uh, continent, flowing from west to east. So the Southern Ocean is considered as the home, especially for a lot of species. So it is good for such hunting and fishing. But nowadays, no, it's negatively impact the Antarctic Ocean's ecosystem because right now, that's why they keep on safeguarding, and they have this warring commission for the Southern Ocean Whale Sanctuary. So another ocean is the Arctic Ocean. Okay, so if you're familiar with Arctic Ocean is the smallest of all the oceans, and the Arctic Ocean is completely surrounded by land. So in this area class, if it is surrounded by land, rest assured that it's very calm. It's along mainly in Eurasia, North America, and approximately on the North Pole. Okay, they have they're an endangered marine species living in the Arctic Ocean, and although the Arctic Ocean is typically covered with ice with its thickness, but nowadays Arctic Ocean have shown a very dramatic decline because of what we call um, the the climate itself. It changed. No? So scientists have noted that these change are consistent with an increase in temperature. So it is because of the global warming. So as a result of the global warming. So another is not anymore an ocean, but it's a Bering Sea. A Bering Sea is located between Alaska and Siberia. Okay, the Bering Sea is actually known as the harrowing, and there is an unpredictable weather condition here, no? So in fact, in the Discovery Channel, it is called as the deadliest catch, no? Because in real life, if you will go for any kind of adventure here, so Bering Sea is unpredictable because of this unforgiving weather, and when you get there, but it's a good thing that a lot of people also would like to experience of the so-called deadliest catch, no? So it hits when the hurricane hits this area, it became violent, and there's a threat in a lot of boats, no, of those who's going there. And then we have also the Mediterranean Sea. It is connected to the Atlantic, and surrounded by a lot of Mediterranean countries as region, and almost completely enclosed by land. So the Mediterranean Sea comes from the Latin words. It means inland or in the middle of the earth. So Mediterranean Sea is one of my favorite of journey, because when you pass through the Mediterranean Sea, it's very calm, and because it's surrounded by different islands, and it's considered as the busiest also, making the area for prime area for trading. And then we have the Caribbean Sea, which is also the most enticing um, area because of its beauty. It's renowned, and it's clear, no, and it has a warm water, and it is also less salty than the Atlantic Ocean. So these are the qualities that help the area to make it more major tourist destination. It's very beautiful. The sea, although, but the sea is also dangerous because there's a frequent volcanic activity and earthquakes and destructive hurricane. So Caribbean Sea was discovered, and if you still remember the history, it's by Christopher Columbus. Were in Caribbean as a main route for treasure hunting expedition. Later on, it becomes an area for the center for trading, and Next is the South China Sea. I know that you're familiar because we're surrounded by this sea. It is South China Sea somewhere in, my province also. When you go there, we are already on the part of the South China Sea. There's a lot of 100 islands around it. So South China Sea is an island referred to as archipelago. So there are some islands that is uninhabited. So with several countries, there are some countries that arguing with the claim over it, especially it is located within the Spratly Island, and it's very valuable. It's very valuable with regards of fishing. It's very rich on fishing, as well as gas and oil deposits. So this island are claimed by China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Malaysia, and of course our country, Philippines. So we have another ocean, which is the Indian Ocean. And if you're not yet familiar with Indian Ocean, it's actually located between the Arabian Peninsula. So this part of this ocean, or Indian Ocean, it is the Arabian Sea. It is forming a lot of major trade routes between India and especially on the countries of Europe. So back then in the centuries, this area of sea is rich with history, and because it became the merchant water transportation. Class, don't you know that geography plays an essential role in cruising in many ways? So, of course, because of this geography, we tend to have different course of color selection and routing in the fundamental uh, aspect, no, wherein the company becomes successful. So cruise client often decide which kind of voyage to take according to the itinerary. So it's not because of the ship, it's not because of the cruise line, but because of its itinerary. So certain places are best experienced by the ship. Like for example, when you go to Alaska, for instance, it is very difficult there, right? It's very expensive, but in some cases it's impossible. But of course, with the cruise ship, it becomes easier no to get around Alaskan coastal water. So this is one of the advantage where in cruises are especially appropriate when you want to go to an island to visit some clusters such as those Greek islands. So it's really an advantage. Going Caribbean is one also. So some air connections within this islands group are often hard and awkward. So in case that you would like to visit some smaller islands, so it become possible. So travel often visits to visit some of the underdeveloped countries via cruise. So the ship is considered secure. The food is so familiar. It's just fabulous. The transportation become dependable, and even the lodging become reliable. So they used to advance the knowledge, study of geography, in order to find out understanding on each of the destination history. So the reason why we have this geography is because, and through cruising, it's because to see and to to appreciate the history and the culture of the ethnic group or religion, and considering the art as a great benefit in the lines of the client. So these are the beneficiary effect logo for the client satisfaction. For this topic that we will be going to know how to read maps and globes, we need to enumerate the types of maps. So one of the topic here is considering the reason why we need to read the maps. So the maps and globes are very important tool, especially for identifying places on Earth's surface. Both are considered as the representation of the real Earth and how to manage, its size. So the globe is a true representation in miniature. A map is representation of course, it's an illustration or a drawing of the Earth's surface, and a part of it, um, according to a scale, it can be hand drawn or printed. So it helps us to identify the places and locations within an area, helping us to navigate from one place to another. So, have you ever read a map already? Because we have different types of maps, and maps are on several types. Um, And one of our objective here to in our one of our activity is for you to locate the different itineraries into the map. So we have what we call the physical map or relief map. This show the natural feature, of the earth. We have also the political map. This map shows the cities, the town, and the villages, the countries, and the states of the world with their boundaries. So kung makikita nyo class, there's a certain map when you the map that you usually buy, you can see the city itself or where to go. So this naman, the thematic map is something that gives basic information about the roads and the tourist places. So there's also a map na all in one. Like you can see that in one map, all the cities, the sub areas, and also the tourist attraction as well. So we have the different components of map. We have three actually. We have the distance, the direction, and the symbol. So it's very important to know the distance and the direction, because once we know, especially if we are driving, and you know the difference if we know how to adjust our time with the different directions. So the elements of map, some maps may contain more than just basic information, but the basic five elements of the map is that first, of course, you can see the title. No, if you read the map, you can see the title. It tells you the basic information about map, no, such as how it is represented. No? For example, if you want to know the map of the entire country, no, the Philippines, so you can see there the title. Now, it's going to tell you what, or should you tell some basic information about the map, and of course the basic area presented by the map. But if it is detailed map, like for example a particular city, so you can also have this kind of map. So the next element is the legend. It explains the different symbols, such as the symbols of the major landmarks. And I know that there are certain landmarks for you to easily access, no, the different location. And the third element is the grid. So it represents more on the grid system, the latitude and the longitude marks, no, that you use to make the location precise and a specific location. For example, in a big map or a map that is actually on that place, you would often have the crisscrossing lines that are going to represent where's the latitude and the longitude of the area in your space. So this is very important element. So your next element would be the direction, like a compass. No, the compass can create a direction between where's the north, south, the east, the west. So it's usually going to present on the map the direct, no, information about of the indication of each direction. So sometimes a map is a setup of the way you see it. So it's really off to your right instead of being straight ahead. So having the directions on the map in the forms of a compass, so it will really direct you to the exact location. So you should know how to use it, and of course how to read the map correctly. So the last element that I'm going to discuss is the map about the scale. So, and a scale shows that the relationship between or relation between a certain distance on the map and the actual distance in a real life. It's really a matter, because sometimes when you see it that this is the direction, this is the approximate time, no, to get there, but eventually because of uncontrollable circumstances in a real life, it doesn't follow. So a globe differs from a map in many aspects, because uh, there's a point of difference between the globe and a map. A compilation of many maps is called an atlas. Okay, so the globe itself, it is a miniature. It is a three-dimensional sphere, while map, it is a printed one. It's a two-dimensional. So of course, for a map, it's easy to carry. It's very you have your own map with you. You can carry it everywhere, while the globe, it's not. No, it's something that is heavy. It's something that's big or huge. So a globe can be used to get a broad level. Usually you can be using this in the school, so to give you a better features and information about the different places. It's a broad aspect. So a globe being spherical in shape, it spins also around an axis. So, however, a map is just a representation of the piece of paper and does not spin, of course. And globes are made of hard materials, so it can be folded unlike the map. So the map is like can be placed in your pocket, and you can carry this wherever you want to walk through, and wherever you can easily fold also this one and along with you. So you can use the map for navigating from one place to another. Okay. Another thing is that globes doesn't provide you enough specific details to help you in the navigation. And using map, nowadays we all know that not everyone is using map because they do have the application already wherein you can see the exact details of your location because of these apps, like for example the Google Map. And from one point to another, it can access you, and sometimes there's a voice over on that, so you can easily understand the distance in between. So it's very interesting that nowadays they help you out through this technology. You will no longer using or carrying the map itself, the printed one. But of course, it's better if you do have the application already, and then you also have your printed one. So at least, no, sometimes kasi with regards of technology, if you don't have the internet, so it fluctuates and it's hard for you to locate some of the places. So again, class, it's very important that you know how to read the map to locate the particular destination, the distance in between, so that you will not be lost now when you are roaming around the city. And it's very important, really, that this learning should be in part with you. And whenever you get the chance to have a tour in different areas, so at least the maps can help you in your location. Thank you. Hello, class. Now we have to talk about the different climatic patterns, and that's one of our topic for today. It's about the learning objective to describe the different weather and climatic conditions of the world. It's very important for us as a seafarer to know the climatic condition, although it is also announced during the cruise by the captain. But of course, as a crew member, it is for us to identify the different landforms and water forms. So, as part of the introduction, this chapter consider the influence of the different weather um, and climatic conditions on the journey of the cruise line industry. You know, class, it is impossible for us not to experience all of this kind of climatic condition, because as we go along our way, as we go for our journey, we have to anticipate that there will be a change in the climate every now and then. So, although nowadays it's very upgrade, the technology is upgraded, and we can already detect now what kind of weather condition that we may encountered upon our journey. So this also holds true for destination visited, and at least we have the chance to make sure to give comfort for the customer, and of course for us to steer clear what can we do in regards of the condition, because the most important thing here is to make sure the safety of our passenger. Okay, so we have to uh, have this kind of knowledge of weather patterns and records of the tidal variation, because during our voyage we have to anticipate this kind of risk. Okay, what the most important is the high degree of safety to enable virtually all the world's ocean and seas to be traversed, and of course with all the coastal ports to be visited. So the weather itself, although we define the weather as the state of the atmosphere at any given time. So, and most of the weather that affects people, it also affects the agriculture and ecosystem. So we have to make sure that we are familiar with these aspects, and with regards of temperature as well. During the time that we're encountering some of the um, climate that is unusual and that may affect, like for example, if there's a hurricane, tidal wave, and everything, it should be announced by the captain. And this severe weather condition, which includes hurricane and tornado, the passenger is well informed about this. No? And if it is summertime and it's too hot, the captain also announced the weather condition and how much the temperature is, so that the passenger would know how they will, protect themselves from the sun rays. So these weather patterns are really complex. They are influenced by many factors, and as the world rotates on this axis, so there's really a change, a lot in with regards of temperature on the different countries. So we used to have this journey all the time, all the year, depend on the season, and we have to um, make sure that in every season, with regards of our journey, we always look into smooth sailing, and that's why majority of the cruise ship class, they look into the tropical zones, the point where the earth is closest to the sun, and that is known as equator. So the tropics is very important, the tropical countries, especially in the journey, because it's requires, it gives us smooth sailing because of the calm sea. So these are the things that is very important. That is, it is known as the tropics points, and that's why majority of the cruise ship company, they look into this kind of season now. And what else? So I guess that's the important thing about the climatic patterns. I remember that during the time that we encountered Hurricane Katrina, it was we're heading the time at New York, and it was for me, it was just a really nightmare for me, because I really feel unsafe during that time. And it just so happened that I became calm, because someone told me that it's okay, and we have to turn around, or how you call this, the captain should um will not heading to New York anymore, and he is going to turn around, going to South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, no? And that was really a tragic experience for me, because everything is flooding from deck 9 and deck 10, and we keep on sucking all the waters, and the passenger are all in the front desk, they are all wearing the life jacket. It was really a nightmare for me, because I thought that that's the last day of my life. But we are very fortunate, because the captain able to maneuver, and thanks God, and we're all safe. So they have different kinds of names with this hurricane. We have hurricane, we have Billy Billy in Australia, we have cyclones in Indian Oceans. Then here, no, in the Philippines, we call it bagyo. So we name it. We tend to have different names on that. So climatic patterns. The climate is the long-term pattern of weather in a particular area. So it can be changed anytime, any hour of the day, and any month to month, year to year. So we have to anticipate all these things happen. We have to be ready of any risk that might happen during our journey. And that's all. Thank